Magic deck ever, right? The most.
Yeah.
I mean, but I understand like sort of that people call it, say it's not real Magic, but as far as I'm concerned, it was printed in Magic sets. It's still using libraries, graveyards, hands, attackers. You know what I mean? That's Magic. If somebody made a game that was entirely, if Dredge didn't exist and somebody made a game that normal for that was just like Dredge, people would be like, it's copying off Magic. Because you'd have like libraries, or at least
that wouldn't be a very fun game, just a Dredge game.
Just a all Dredge.
Although, in all actuality, it would probably be better than most games.
You're right.
Most games are really bad.
May actually be cool.
It's pretty rough when you get like a new board game at the store and you're like, hey guys, let's play the new board game, and everybody's just like, oh man, it's like 90% of new board games.
So, yeah, but I think I like Dredge. I like that it exists. I don't really ever play it. I played it when it was in Standard, but
I played it in one tournament Standard, and that was back when it was super rogue and nobody knew about it.
Exactly.
At Nationals one year.
It was like
Green Seekers and
I remember
all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of more of a fringe deck in Standard. It never really even.
It was really good against that Aether Mage's touch deck that everybody was playing in Nationals that year.
Oh yeah, that was in Baltimore.
It was in Baltimore. It was really bad against the red-black deck that a lot of people played that year. On day one, I just played against all the people playing the Aether Mage touch deck, didn't even know about the red-black deck. I was like, oh man, this Dredge deck is insane. And on day two, I just played against the red-black deck and was like, I cannot win a match.
LSV won that Nationals.
He did. That was actually when I met Brad Nelson. That was his first big tournament that he traveled to.
Wow.
He won regionals, playing a pretty weird deck. He was a Magic Online grinder. That's a lot of people knew him, and he 6-0'd limited at Nationals that year. His very first big tournament.
I was there. My memory of that day is LSV winning, and I remember trading for Tarmogoyfs at like $9. Because it was like people were starting to realize it's good. I already had one or something. I gotta get more of these before they get ridiculous. I mean, I kind of just never expected them to hit more than 15, but yeah, we all know what happened there.
All right, both players checking out their opening hands.
I remember trying to.
I really like David Lehmann's list.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
It's exciting. Like it's something different. Yeah, Edward's on that side, so that's Dredge. All right, let's actually go down this list. The spells that David's going to cast include Violent Outburst, Ardent Plea. So he's got the whole Cascade thing. He wants to cascade into Hypergenesis. It's the whole thing. He's got Warstorm Surge, Show and Tell, Force of Will, and Hypergenesis. Hypergenesis is going to try to get one of these guys into play: Imperial Archangel, Progenitus, or Blightsteel Colossus. And then he's got 4 Elvish Spirit Guide and 4 Simian Spirit Guide that he probably doesn't plan on casting, just using them for mana. So that's the layout of his entire deck. I mean, that's the deck, and I would love to see what he can do here. So Edward puts a Golgari Graveshoal into play. I mean, I think he just discarded it, but Dredge players typically play with their graveyards right in front of them, so
yeah.
Don't worry, that Graveshoal is in the graveyard and not in play.
Yeah, even if it wasn't played, it'd be a 0/0.
Yeah, so it'd be in the graveyard. So maybe he did just put it into play.
Yeah, who knows?
Is that Exotic Orchard, or is that what that one is?
Yeah.
Forbidden Orchard. I always get him. There's Exotic is the one that
David with a couple of options here. I mean, he can Show and Tell here, but I think he's waiting for a Cascade outlet because his
yeah, Forbidden Orchard gives your opponent a guy. Exotic Orchard is the one that adds. It's like Fell Warstone, adds colors equal to your opponent's any land that opponent could produce. Any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Jeez, I can't even talk. But that is not the one that David has in play. He has Forbidden Orchard.
Forbidden Orchard, which is
adds any color and gives your opponent a 1/1.
Which is actually pretty bad against Dredge because they can use that 1/1 to Cabal Therapy you.
And Dread
Return things. And I think David's deck, by the time he's going to tap that thing for mana, nothing in this hand really matters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think David should just show and tell. I mean, nothing Dredge can really do here is better than the Imperial Archangel. Might as well just start applying some pressure and then...
Another mine.
But I mean, maybe it's just not worth it to give your opponent the guide. He does have a force. Doesn't even have a blue card for the force, so he does it. It's a weird situation for him.
Meanwhile, Edward just dredges the Grave Shoal and hits an Archamoeba and does it yet again. Dredge Grave Shoal. Hits another Grave Troll. Pretty good at hitting those Grave Trolls. Swing with Narcomoeba.
Yep.
Why not?
Putting David down to 19 here.
City of Brass.
Yeah, City of Brass comes down.
Right here, an exotic
And
orchard
Cabal
would have been
Therapy.
really awesome to have. Cabal Therapy from Edward.
And what do you think he's going to name?
Wondering what he thinks his opponent is on.
No.
So
Forces it naming show and tell.
yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if he's trying to make his opponent think he's on Hive Mind. Because now, you know, I'm thinking if I'm Edward,
Yeah.
I'm
I mean-
facing against Hive Mind.
That's what you got to think at this point.
Now that you've seen Show and Tell specifically. And
Should David just concede here instead of showing Edward his hand? Alright.
so there's Warstorm Surge, Imperial Archangel, and Elvish. He named Sneak Attack. Okay, so he thought it was Sneak and Show. That's fair. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah. So and Elvish Spirit Guide is the third card there. So
That's one nice thing about playing a really weird deck is that
people are like, "What is going on?" Jerry played Hypergenesis a few months ago at an event. I don't think it was, you know, it wasn't quite this exact list, or even, yeah, I think there were.
I think
quite a few
Hypergenesis is
differences.
really good for Legacy right now.
I think it's really fun. Warstorm Surge, for those of you guys who are wondering what it does. It's a red and 5 enchantment from M12. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. So
So with Hypergenesis and Warstorm Search, with a lot of your draws, your opponent just dies.
yeah,
If it's, you know, if it's a Blightsteel Colossus, it just kills them with infect damage right away.
so the
it's
second
my four of
therapy happens and it names Imperial Archangel. Flashback, second therapy there. With the zombie token. So got the Imperial Archangel out of David's hand.
And now David can still win this if he, you know, if he draws a Cascade spell into a Blightsteel Colossus, then he wins.
Cascade into. He's not going to cascade into Blightsteel Colossus. You mean cascade into
Well,
Hypergenesis?
he draws a Cascade spell.
Right.
And then draws a Blightsteel Colossus.
Right. Okay.
and he
Okay.
wins.
That's what.
Yeah.
I was a little
and then
confused.
he cascades into
Yeah,
Hypergenesis.
Exactly.
obviously, yeah.
Okay. You confused me for a second. I'm like, you're skipping a card somewhere.
Yeah.
Cascade into Blightsteel Colossus. That's a heck of a cascade spell. Draws Progenitus.
And yeah, now again, all he needs
Again,
is
yeah.
like a. He gets an Ardent Plate or a Violent Outburst. He's kind of home free.
Edward gets Icarid into play.
Edward
Swings
attack
for
for
4. And
No.
Imp for Edward. Gets a zombie. And
let's see. Who is such Tendo Ice Bridge? It's one you don't see very often.
yeah, there it is from Kamigawa block.
So many counters on his lands.
Yeah.
Some people don't really like the Warstorm Surge. You know, I've never actually seen the Warstorm Surge version of the deck. So
Neither have I. And, I mean, I haven't seen
Not really sure,
Hypergenesis
but I
a
mean-
lot either. That's kind of why I'm kind of just sitting back and watching.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem that bad to me.
There's a Spirit and Warstorm Surge hardcast by David Lehmann.
I don't think there's a reason to do that. Like, giving your opponent that extra 1/1, I think means Edward can kill him this next turn. Whereas if he... Yeah, no, Drew Levin mentions that Warstorm Surge is worse than Achroma's Memorial and Colossus is worse than Emrakul. And seems to make sense to me.
Okay, so Edward Therapy's naming Force of Will. It's like David's just gonna scoop him up here because
Yeah, at that point,
yeah,
it really
his
just doesn't have
deck is
anything
not
else.
actually doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hypergenesis kind of. So that's the second. This is the second match in a row where we're seeing kind of a combo deck just sputter out.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe again, you know, maybe we'll see David get something going in game 2. But we saw Reanimator. It was last round, right? Just not able to perform. So
Yeah, these combo decks are just sputtering out. I mean, again, Edward Song's playing a combo deck too.
yeah, Dredge is pretty combo.
But
with
Dredge
you,
is
it's
Dredge is pretty consistent.
Mhm.
Like when you keep a hand with Dredge, you know it's going to do what it's going to do.
right.
And it's kind of true when keeping a hand with Reanimator or Hypergenesis also. We've just had some pretty awkward keeps. Like, it wasn't that bad of David to keep the hand he had because he did have a turn 2 show,
Yeah.
which would have been fine against somebody else, but he just didn't want to do it against Dredge. And, you know, you have to wonder, like, if he had just cast turn 2 show intel and put an Imperial Archangel into play, how do you think that game would have gone for him? Probably a lot better.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, at least it would have been a lot more interactive. Well, as interactive as it gets with versus Dredge, a lot more
Yeah.
back and forth.
Well,
He's got
I think he would have, I don't know, he might have won.
yeah. Imperial Archangel's pretty ridiculous. He's got 2 Leyline of the Void in the board, as well as Leyline of Sanctity. So stopping all those therapies seems like an interesting option.
Yeah, I don't think he brings in the sanctities. Just blocking discard spells is not the greatest thing. Usually that's for, you know, something like Ant or a deck that's like really going for your hand, like maybe something that has like the full like 6 1-mana discard spells and hymns kind of thing.
Yeah. It does feel like a lot of 1-mana discard spells when your opponent's going therapy, you flashback therapy.
Yeah.
You know.
And the major issue too, though, is when you're signing in Leyline of Sanctity, you have less cards in your hand that like actually do things.
Yeah.
And you really need all of your cards when you're trying to combo with Hypergenesis. And it just having the Dredge discard doesn't really start happening until like you've already comboed normally.
Yeah, that's fair. I just don't like Leylines. I think Leyline of the Void is the only one that I've ever played with because I just don't like Leylines. And Leyline of the Void is more of a concession to the fact that I expect it to be kind of a blowout if I can actually get it into play. But really, I hate the Leylines. I hate playing with the Leylines anyway.
Blue Leyline's really fun, but it's not good.
Right.
But it's really fun. Not the new one. Not the
the one that gives
the
all you
flash
guys
Leyline,
flash.
yeah.
Leyline of Anticipation, I think is what it is. But
Speaking of anticipation, you guys probably seen some of the ads here on SCG Live, and excited about Diablo 3. I'm really excited about Diablo 3. That happens this week. Doing commentary next weekend. gonna be sitting there hoping to get home and play Diablo 3 the whole time.
Yeah.
I'll be excited about playing Magic too.
Never played
Magic.
Diablo, so I don't. I've heard good things. But
It
I'm a
should be
big
fun.
video game guy. I mean, certain video games I'd get into, but mostly if I can play it on iPad, I'll do it. At this point, like I'm not a console gamer. I don't even feel like sitting at my laptop and playing. It just needs to be an iPad game. That's why I'm so excited about Duels of the Planeswalkers coming to iPad. I've never played with Duels of the Planeswalkers. I've watched people play a couple times, you know, on Xbox, and it looks awesome. Now that it's apparently going to be available this summer for iPad, I will certainly be getting it, as soon as possible and playing with it.
Yeah, both these players are 4-0.
Is that a guess, or are you sure about that?
I'm assuming. I mean, it's round
Yeah.
5, and we're doing coverage.
I
of
would
their
think so
match,
too,
right?
but I didn't know if you had actually hard information about that, or if it was just an assumption.
It's an assumption.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're both assuming that these guys are 4-0. Jesse, you want to check their records just to make sure? So rather than assuming. So
That's a good idea.
David
I just
starts
always
with
assume
early
until like
on.
round 6 that we're covering,
Yeah.
right? Or,
Sometimes we just want to see some cool decks, like Hypergenesis.
yeah.
No, I'm not assuming these guys are like 1-3 or anything either.
Oh, they're definitely still in contention. We're not
Yeah.
going to show like.
Yeah, that's what I'm
if we showed,
saying.
Like a
Like,
1-3 match.
Look at this awesome deck by this guy that's losing. They
Yep.
are EXO.
They are both 4-0.
That's awesome. So you're doing commentary next week in Orlando? Is that
Yep.
awesome? Who's your partner?
That's a good question. We'll find out. Man, I was hoping it was going to be you.
It's not me. Sorry. My next one though is. We're underway here.
Oh, and he did
he
side in the Leyline of Sanctity.
Sided in the
So he
Leyline?
started things off with the Leyline of Sanctity and Undiscovered Paradise, and his opponent has turn 1 Fugitive. And again, siding in that Leyline, I mean, that's one less card for when you combo.
I mean, at least he can't be targeted though. I mean, he didn't have to pay mana for it.
Yeah, but especially when you're on the play, like when you combo, it's way before Dredge is Cabal therapying you, right? Because they don't Cabal therapy
Theoretically.
you until like turn 3, sometimes on turn 2, but usually not till turn 3.
Dredging, and careful study.
I can dredge this.
Dredging
Snake
again.
Freedom.
Dredging the imp. Dredging the thug.
Yeah, and it's a couple of Narcomoebas. And gonna attack for attack with that Putrid Imp. Get in there, David. Can he combo this turn?
He's gonna need to do something quick because Dredge is. These are some pretty good dredges, I think, from Edwards now.
They could be better.
He's hitting
but
bridge. He hit bridge. He's consistently. He's got a consistent dredge.
Yeah,
enabler.
he's gonna keep going. Like, he
Yeah,
definitely
he's got
has
2 bridges right now, actually. Hence the 2 zombies. Edward just Cabal therapying himself to get those zombies. He can dread return. Does he have a target yet? Yeah, a juicy target.
Not a juicy one, but he does.
All right, Hypergenesis, let's go. I have to
Ardent Plea.
get
I
this
think
going.
That's
He's got Blightsteel in hand, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what the therapy was? He therapied himself for Dread Return?
All right, a Violent Outburst, and I wonder what he's going to cascade into.
Yeah, I wonder. So Violent Outburst, cascading now. Eventually, hope he didn't side out the Hypergenesis.
That probably would be bad.
And I mean, we're seeing his that he did bring in the Leyline of the Void, which makes sense. Oh, he named Mindslaver. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, he was just
because he could just discard some future name.
Okay, yeah, we had reports that he named Dread Return, but that was a mistake. So he named Mindslaver, obviously not hitting anything, and then just discarded the Dread Return.
Yeah, Hypergenesis, and I think David just wins because he has Blightsteel Colossus and Warstorm Surge in hand, right? Edward's not shuffling David's graveyard. That's actually not allowed.
Yeah, that's.
Oh no, never mind. That's
bottom.
like Cascade stuff. Yeah. Sorry, being stupid. Dredge on the
put
other
the
side
exile
of the
cards
table.
on the bottom in the random order. Yeah, so. Hypergenesis resolves, Warstorm Surge into play,
yeah,
Blightsteel Colossus into play. I think I'll put another one into play. Just do it! Just do it! Yeah! Double Blightsteel Colossus.
Yeah. 20 infect damage. Good enough?
What the slow roll and the second Blightsteel was.
One is all you need.
I don't care. We're going with overkill. You're playing against Dredge. You gotta do unfair things, ridiculous things. That was actually 24 infect damage because he had Violent Outburst as well, and the Blightsteel's got 11 power. So, I mean, I guess Edward could have soaked some of that up.
Well, I think it actually would have been 22 because the Violent Outburst would not have resolved until after the after the triggers for Warstorm Surge happened.
You were counting the Warstorm Surge. I was just talking about him attacking. You're right.
Yeah, because he can't attack.
Outburst doesn't give him haste. That's right.
No.
I'm thinking Outburst gave him haste and +1/+0. I don't know why.
Oh man, that would be absurd.
It really would be.
This would be like the best deck.
So yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because then you wouldn't even need the.
You would need the Warstorm.
You wouldn't play Warstorm Surge or like a Chromus Memorial. You just.
All right, Hypergenesis does its thing.
Yeah, and I mean that was pretty exciting. We saw somebody get infected for 20
without
on
an
turn
attack
3
occurring. How often do you get killed by infect from an opponent who never attacked you?
That kind of happened yesterday in Standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess he attacked, but not until the very end. He went turn 1 champion of the parish and killed his opponent with infect damage on turn 4. It's an interesting series of events in this match of Standard. A little bit unfortunate that player who won on turn 4 with infect damage after casting his turn 1 champion. He started out 5-0 and then
just
0-3
yeah,
and
dropped after 0-3. Yeah, sucks, but it was an impressive
little run with it. Triumph of the Hordes deck.
Yeah,
pretty sweet to be 5-0 with that.
I love the whole just Triumph of the Hordes. That was just awesome.
Edward Song is doing the do. Yeah, he's at this point he realizes he's playing against a deck that's just faster than him.
Yeah, so I mean it's crazy as long as David draws a reasonable kind of hand. I mean, all he needs, actually, I guess it's kind of a 3-card. You need the right lands, but you need something that you want to. You need the right lands. You need a Cascade spell, and you need something that you want to put into play. But you got Show and Tell as a backup, kind of Hypergenesis as well.
I don't think it's fair to a combo deck to include having the right lands as part of the combo.
I mean,
that's being a little cruel.
But I mean, to do it so early, obviously.
Like, yeah. If you can like Spirit Guide into it, it's obviously awesome.
Yeah, that's why he's got 8 Spirit Guides.
And now let's see what this turn. David Lehmann again, starting with the ley line in play. It's basically like he mulliganed.
And you saw how much damage that Cabal Therapy did last game. Not many. Yeah, I did happen to look for your partner and notice who it was. And he tweeted in, Drew Levin. It's me, you jerk. How could you? I love it. So Drew Levin next week with JVL. That's pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, it is Drew.
You still weren't getting it until I said it?
I heart you, Drew. I'm so excited. Man, that's gonna be awesome. Commentating with Drew Levin.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch.
It's me, you jerk.
I know, I just want to retweet it.
It's great.
All right, so Imp in the Yard for Edward Song.
All right, so Edward Song on the draw. This is something you don't see dredge players do often enough, where they just
don't do anything. Yeah,
don't do anything. And that's like really good. Like, I can't tell you how many times against dredge I would have just lost if they had done this, but they started like trying to do things.
I do that with Reanimator. You know, draw, discard, turn 2, land, reanimate. You know what I mean? It might be a turn 2, but... And that is an ardent plea. Yep. Here we go. We're off to the races. Let's see if we can hit Hypergenesis a little earlier this time. He went through about 54 cards, I think, last game.
Yep. And...
yeah. He's hit Colossus, 2 Angels. I'm just wondering what he's going to Hypergenesis.
I mean, he has 3 copies of it.
3rd Colossus.
It's not like he's not going to hit it.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually trying to figure out what
how he's sideboarding?
What he's got in his hand that we're going to see in play momentarily. I think that was all 4 Colossuses, so it's not a Colossus. He's definitely hit 2 of the Warstorm Surges, if not 3. Wow.
Edward Song was really hoping he had sided out the
yeah. You forgot! Hypergenesis is in your sideboard!
Alright, so Hypergenesis, and that's going to resolve, and we're going to get to see what David's going to
he does have 1 Colossus, okay.
He's
also got Progenitus.
Alright. Killing his opponent from the full 30.
Yeah, so he can't Warstorm Surge, though. He's going to have to attack. There's Progenitus. And the Dredge player's dropping guys into play, too, but they're so irrelevant. I'll play an Elvish Spear guy, why not? And what's that last card in his hand? Lion's Eye Diamond from Edward Song.
Gets to play that for free.
Yeah.
What a treat.
It's like a 0 mana cost Lion's Eye Diamond. At instant speed, kind of at instant speed. It's sort of mid-sorcery speed. It's happening mid-sorcery. You're unlikely to see Drew Levin playing next week unless he's playing against you in the booth.
Unless we have a booth battle.
To iPad MTG, Kenneth B on Twitter.
Alright, so right now, Edward has
some dredging happening now.
Players in the standard sealed event. The seedings are now up on green paper on the pairings board to the left.
He's really got to just see how fast he can go up. Flashback Faithless leading.
Yeah, so he cracks the Lotus is what I was going to call it. Lion's Eye Diamond. Flashback Faithless leading.
Yeah, he does not have a copy of Flame Zealot in the yard yet. Oh no, he does. He did find the Flame Zealot. Okay. Does he have a Dread Return?
It's so funny. It's like the 3rd time during the match that I've seen Edward just like scoop like that, and I keep thinking he's scooping, but really he's just physically scooping his graveyard so he can lay it out nicer. So
he has
he's got a bridge there that he's I think there's a Dread Return. Where's the Flamekin Zealot? I'm looking for it. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah. So I mean, he can pass the turn. He's not going to die to this attack. Yeah, he should attack with just the Imp. Then double block the Colossus. You have to triple block the Colossus if he just attacks with the Colossus because of Exalted from Ardent Plate.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ardent Plate provides an extra power.
Yeah, and Yeah, just attack with the Imp. Then next turn, he can return both the Icarids, and that will, or he can return 2 Icarids, and that will give him enough power to win with his, Flame Consult combo.
Wow.
So I think Edward Song's got this game. So an attack, the Imp. I guess he doesn't even really have to attack with the Imp, but
you don't use time not to
do
miss
so,
a point,
you know,
like, point where it may matter. Yeah.
And you kind of just, you want to leave 2 non-token creatures back to double block. And just passing that turn, that's fine. I don't hate that play at all.
It's just a safer way of doing it, I think.
And that Forbidden Orchard token could actually make the difference this game.
I think David drew Progenitus, which obviously not going to help him. Not going to help him, even if he could get even if he could Hypergenesis here. Progenitus.
It's a Hydra.
You can't play Progenitus with another Progenitus. That is something that Progenitus doesn't have protection from itself. Everything but a legendary copy of itself.
Well, it does have protection from itself if the ley line that prevents legendary rule from working happens.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so
it
needs
still
some
does
have protection from itself.
Needs some help. Yeah.
Everything.
Is that stupid or putrid? That's putrid.
All right. So
yeah, actually the Imp can't block. So he should have attacked with it anyway.
oh yeah, it can't block your threshold, right?
Yeah, so there was actually no reason for him not to attack.
Okay. I was like, I think I've blocked with that guy.
That
it's
is
like, oh, I didn't
something
have
that
threshold.
has come up so few times that I've watched Dredge or played against Dredge. It's just never. I thought that was flavor text.
Yeah, I mean, if I were David here, I would just... this is kind of weird. If you just attack with the Colossus, then... Yeah, just attacking with the Colossus makes it harder for Edward to kill you. Yeah, because it makes it a 12 power, so he's going to have to triple block it, which means he's only going to have 1 non-token creature, which is going to make it pretty difficult for him to just Flame Conzealot you out the next turn, and you'll have 2 blockers. So, oh, he attacked with both. So I like either just attacking it. Yeah, you... It can't block.
Yeah, wait. Can't block. Are you tell them it can't block.
Yeah, it cannot block on the card. Read the threshold text.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, and that blocks much better. Yeah, I mean, if he just attacks with the Blightsteel Colossus, then the next turn Edward has to dredge into another bridge or he can't kill him. But now he's just dead on board.
Yeah, that's. I'm sitting here like my head tilted, trying
Don't get me wrong,
to.
it's super confusing. But yeah, right? Like he only has 1 bridge in yard right now.
Right.
So the Icarids and the or I guess it doesn't matter. He'll still have 3 non-token guys to sacrifice because of the Icarids. So I guess it just makes no difference. But will the extra blocker make a difference? It's like the big question.
So 2
Dredging.
Icarids coming into play.
Yeah, and that's it. Sacrifice these 3 guys. Dread returning Flamekin Zealot. Make 3 guys. or 6 guys rather. Oh, yeah, he hit another bridge. That's super, super duper over. Yeah, so.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That physical movement there. It was like
that was the best.
Kind of reared back.
Yeah.
Turn those colors out of the ass.
It's like Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon.
It was very much like that. It was just a poor David. Like he's just like I hypergenesis into Blightsteel Colossus
on turn 2. I had a
on
Progenitus and a
turn
Blightsteel
2
Colossus in turn 2
and lost. That's Legacy. Yeah, I mean, good
and
show
yet,
though,
the
David
best
Lehmann.
deck in
I love
Legacy
it.
is a green-white creature deck with Mother of Runes, and this type of stuff happens.
All right,
crazy format. This
Legacy
stuff.
It absolutely is. It's like it's the most fun format I feel.